Yes, friends, welcome back to American Freedom Radio, the debut show of Deeper States of America with your hosts Sander Hicks and Glitz Litzenberg.
Ahoy.
Ahoy. We have here a super activist who's been around for a good while, and he knows what's what. He's got a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. His name is Mr. Keith Munday. Keith, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are we doing today?
We're doing great, man. Thanks a lot for being on our show.
I'm enjoying it already.
Excellent. Great.
Excellent.
So, Keith, you are active in progressive Democratic politics. You've run for U.S. Congress. You were one of the very first supporters of Bernie Sanders in Ohio. Is that right?
I do believe that is true. The first time we put up a Facebook page for Bernie Sanders was back in 2013.
Wow.
We ran a person for the DNC chair, Sam Ronan. It was very important that Sam, for the few minutes that he was on CNN that night that Tom Perez and Keith Ellison and the rest of all the other people that were running, it was important that we got that message out, that we felt that there was things happening in the primary. And really what was happening with the Democratic Party is, they have the 447 who pretty much vote on everything and decide how the Democratic Party is going to move. They can, with their bylaws in the small print, and also by changing rules, can dictate where the party goes. The people are out of it. We're totally out of making decisions for the Democratic Party.
Democrats are all about equality and justice. We stand up for the rights of oppressed people, whether it's civil rights for African Americans in the United States or human rights for Palestinians. The good news is, things are changing. Sander Hicks is a fighter for the people. He has spent his life working against war and has won awards for publishing the truth about the crimes of the global system. We declare a new possibility, the United States as a practitioner of peace and conflict resolution, not arms dealing, secrecy, and bloodshed. Do you see what we see?
I'd like to say that the Democratic Party is changing for the better, but they're just hanging on to the Clinton. It's like the Clintons run this party, and they still do.
Yeah.
Progressives, you're not going to see much funding going towards progressives if there's even a penny. They even fight us in the primaries.
Yeah, we realize that we're running a very maverick race here as real progressives, a real anti-war lefty campaign, and really trying to connect to a universal value of peace and honesty and integrity. But thus far, it's been kind of difficult. There's a New York City entrenched Democrat Party mentality that tends to go for the incumbent, even if the incumbent has voted for the Iraq War, the bailouts, the Patriot Act, the Afghanistan, is terrible on Israel. And
we call that a moderate Democrat now. When over half of your budget goes to the military, it's going to be tough to do what Bernie Sanders and I want to do, and other people around the country, and that is make sure that our people are educated, fed, and also have health care. You can't do that if you're constantly giving all your money to the military, and all we do is police the world.
Yeah, $740 billion, and it's our money.
447 people who sit on the Central Committee of the DNC. We're out of it. We're not going to be selected to be one of those people that are members. A lot of those members are presidents of unions, the large donors, people like that.
But politically, you were at Chicago in '68, and then you were at Kent State, right?
You have to remember those were the Nixon years. It was anti-war.
Yeah.
The college campuses were, telling Washington that they were tired of this war. And it was an interesting time also because everybody could get drafted. It didn't matter who you were. Kent State was a turning point in my life, to actually be there and see what was happening. I've experienced and been in places at times that were historical and not sometimes planning to be there, but just happened to be there sometimes. It's just the way things worked out. I had no idea that I would be that guy that started the Bernie Sanders movement and be the only person who ran for federal office in 16 who was also was that person who helped start the Bernie Sanders movement. I had no idea that I was going to get that entrenched in it. I had no idea that I'd be hanging with senators and congressmen and all these other people. That it wasn't something that it wasn't on my bucket list. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And did you do an analysis of Ohio?
Yeah, it was a them against us mentality. That's the way I see the Democratic Party today. It's them against us. It's like they look. I look at progressives as being true Democrats. I look at us as being FDR New Deal Democrats.
Yeah,
we are we are for the people. It's the party that has drifted away and in a way got bought, this past election cycle by the Clinton family. You kind of have to take a look at what's really happening in politics, and there's really not a party of the people right now. I mean, the Dems will say they are, but they don't vote that way. We take a look at what's happening in politics today, and if it's all about the money, our democracy is a joke. Until we take money out of politics and until we get everybody to vote. We need to be voting by mail. We need to be everybody registered automatically. We need to vote by mail, have that paper ballot. I mean, that's something that everybody's talking about how the Russians are going to take our elections away from us. Well, we've already done that ourselves. I mean, it's a joke blaming it on the Russians. And it's another joke when we talk about how Russians are influencing elections when we ourselves as a country have been doing this for generations. My job now, I feel, is to go around, talk to people who are running for Congress, see if I can raise them money. When you take a look at our democracy, and we're ranked 30-something in the world in a democracy, and yet we're the ones running around telling everybody they should be a democracy. It's sad. It's really sad. Well, and we need to fix that.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about this campaign, about Senator Hicks running for U.S. Congress, is he's going to be like this domino. We put one domino in Congress, put Senator Hicks in there, and we get him to knock the rest of them over. So.
I would like to get 32 of us in there.
Yeah. Keith Munday has been our guest on this hour on the Deeper States of America radio show. Keith, thank you very much for being on our debut show. You've made history once again, Keith. Thank you very much.